Well, hello there. Thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight, I want to talk about a very important subject, and that subject is ChatGPT. Now, this topic has been on my mind for quite some time. I myself have grown up as a farmer, and one thing that has, always stuck with me is how people are always ridiculing how much water farmers use. They're always like, "Oh, farmers, they use way too much water. They consume so much water. They are so wasteful." Even though farmers literally feed the world, there is food because of farmers. And I got thinking about ChatGPT and how much water they use. And it makes me think, people were always criticizing farmers, but maybe we need to criticize other people. So you can see here, this is the information that I've gathered about ChatGPT's water consumption. So first, the facts. The facts is that it costs about $700,000 a day to run ChatGPT, and also consumes about 16 fluid ounces of water for every 5 to 50 prompts of questions. So this is how I broke it down. So in my first calculation here, it shows. Let's take it back one step further. So first, we need to know how many queries per day that it produces. And so we know that 700,000 divided by 0.36 equals about 1.9, a little over 1.9 million queries per day. And we take that 1.9 million queries per day, first we divide it by 50 questions, and then we times it by 16, and that we give it the amount of fluid ounces, and then we convert that fluid ounces to decagallons. And so based off of for every 50 questions, it uses about 16 fluid ounces of water, means that ChatGPT uses about 4,861 gallons per day, which is enough water to supply 15 homes. So now let's take it a step further. Let's take it to the extreme. So for every 5 questions, uses about 16 fluid ounces. So we take, say, 1.9 million divided by 5 times by 16, convert fluid ounces to gallons. So we get about 48,611 gallons of water used per day, and that's enough to supply 151 homes to about 15 homes. And so that's a good lot of water that that's not being used, because you think about how chatbots works. They are just computer chips. They're just data centers that they use electricity to power them, and as they're doing their calculations, everything inside the little computer chips, they get hot, and so to cool them, they run water to cool off the chips. That's the cooling system. And so that water gets warm, it gets hot, and then it gives off as steam, and it's lost to the atmosphere. So that's water that's not used by us, it's not used by farmers, it's just completely lost. And so, kind of to put some more perspective, when they were first training version 3 of the chatbot, it took them about 2 weeks, and they used about 184,000 gallons of water. And that's enough water to produce about 370 BMWs and about 320 Tesla cars. And so that is that's a lot of vehicles that could have been produced with that water, but instead it was used to power or to train the version 3 of ChatGPT. And so it's interesting. Obviously, they use Microsoft's most state-of-the-art data centers to do this, but there are other data centers out there that eventually might also be helping to run ChatGPT that are less efficient. So there's some data centers in Asia that they would run it, and those data centers in Asia would have tripled the water used to train version 3. And so some of these data centers, they're not efficient, and they use a lot of water. And so that is very concerning, where in places in like Arizona and California, a lot of these places, some years they barely just have enough water to get by. And here we are building these data centers, and we're using that water that we don't have. And so it's very important for these companies to make sure that they're continuing to strive to make these data centers more water efficient. And because if they don't continue to make these data centers more efficient, they're just going to consume more and more water, because there's some studies out there that over the next years between 2023, so now, to 2030, AI in general, so this is more than just ChatGPT, but AI in general is going to increase about 37% each year until about 2023. Right now, that's kind of what they're saying. Each year, AI is going to continue to increase and get bigger by about 37% each year. And so, by the end of 2030, putting these into some calculations to calculate how much water, potentially ChatGPT will need to be using by that time. So if we took our conservative, remember it was 16 fluid ounces for about 50 prompts. So if I took that and used it just to supply enough water for all the users using it at once, we would need about over 60,000 gallons of water each day to power or to cool ChatGPT, and that would be enough water for about 190 homes. Now, if we took it to the high end, 16 fluid ounces per 5 prompts, if we took it to the high end, to power ChatGPT, I keep saying power, but I mean to cool ChatGPT, you would need about 609,000 gallons of water each day to cool the chatbot. That is over 1,000. That could supply over 1,000 homes, exactly 1,903 homes. And of course, this is all based off of the average of takes about 300 gallons of water to supply a home each day. And so, that's a lot of water that is being used just in one day. And the thing is, all this information I've been sharing with you about how much water ChatGPT uses is just ChatGPT. There's other studies that say Google Air stuff has increased water usage between, I think it's about 20 to 24%, and Microsoft alone has increased its water usage by 34% in this last year. So water is very important to these AI models and to these AI chatbots. And so it's something that we must consider going forward, that we must make sure that these chatbots, these AI models, are becoming more water efficient, because the population of the Earth is getting bigger. We are needing more and more water. And so it's important that we do everything we can to use our water wisely. And we need to make sure that we're not just blaming farmers for their water usage. We need to make sure we look at everybody, even ourselves, to make sure we use water fairly, that we're not wasting water. And we need to make sure these companies are using water wisely. And if they're not, we need to do everything we can to make sure that they do. Because, this is important, that we use the resources that we have wisely, and that we are good stewards. And that is very important. So, next time you use ChatGPT, remember that it uses a lot of water. And so, all these things, we can always point the finger like, it's you, it's on you, it's on all those other people. Remember, it starts with you. You can make a difference by changing the way you do things. Once you start with yourself, you can look outward and try to help others do the same. Take care.